When someone says water footprint, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably the number of gallons or liters used, right? But that's really only half the picture. Today, we're diving into this hidden other side of our water impact. It's called the gray water footprint.
Welcome to Metricom. Our whole goal here is to cut through the noise. We break down the big ideas, the important data, and give you the clarity you need to really get a handle on these complex topics. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What is a water footprint? On the surface, it sounds super simple, doesn't it? It's just the amount of water it takes to make all the stuff we use. But, and this is a big but, the way we usually think about it, well, it has this enormous blind spot. Right now, the conversation is all about quantity. How many liters did we use? How many cubic meters were consumed? It's all about the volume. But there's this other, absolutely critical piece of the puzzle that we just tend to forget about. And that's the impact on the quality of the water. And that's exactly why we need to look beyond just the numbers on a water meter. Quantity, it's important for sure, but it is not the whole story, not even close, especially when we're talking about our real environmental impact. Okay, let's play this out. Picture two factories, side by side. They both use the exact same amount of water, let's say 1 million gallons a day. Now, Factory A releases that water back into the river pretty clean, but Factory B, it's dumping water full of nasty pollutants. If you only look at the volume, their water footprints are identical. But think about it. Are their impacts on the environment really the same? No way, right? Of course not. So how do we actually measure that difference? Well, that's where the idea of a pollution footprint comes in. It's a metric that was specifically designed to tackle this exact problem, to finally account for water quality. And this gets us to the core of it. The gray water footprint. Now, listen closely because this is key. It is not the actual water you used. It's a theoretical number. It's the volume of fresh, clean water you would hypothetically need to add to the polluted water you discharged just to dilute it enough to meet safety standards. So you're basically measuring your pollution load, but you're expressing it in a way we can all understand, as a volume of water. I saw it put really well. The gray water footprint is all about measuring water quality pressure. It's not about the water itself, but about the stress, the pressure we're putting on an ecosystem to clean up our mess. So really, it's like two sides of the same coin. You've got the blue water footprint. That's the one you've probably heard of. It measures how much fresh water we actually consume or take out of the system. Then you've got the gray water footprint, which measures the amount of fresh water we effectively pollute or degrade. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how on earth do you calculate something like that? And it's a great question. The key thing to remember is that this isn't something you can measure with a dipstick. It's a calculated indicator. It's a smart model that basically translates a pollution problem into a number we can work with. Conceptually, it's actually pretty straightforward. It boils down to 3 steps. First, you figure out how much of a particular pollutant you're releasing. Step 2, you look up the official water quality standards. What's the maximum safe concentration allowed for that pollutant? And finally, step 3, you do the math to figure out how much clean water it would take to dilute your mess down to that safe level. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the final number, well, it can change a lot depending on a few key things. What kind of pollutant are we even talking about? Nitrogen is very different from, say, lead. How strict are the local environmental laws? That makes a huge difference. What's the natural state of the river you're dumping into? Is it already polluted? And of course, the big one, just how much pollution are you creating? Every single one of these factors plays a huge role. All right, I know this can all feel a little abstract, a little mathy, so let's bring it down to earth. Let's look at what this actually means out in the real world, from a farm field to a factory floor. So let's take 2 classic examples. Think about agriculture. You've got fertilizer runoff from fields pouring nitrogen and phosphorus into nearby rivers. The gray water footprint in this case is a measure of the absolutely massive volume of clean water that nature would need to dilute those nutrients just to stop those nasty algal blooms from exploding. Or take industry. A factory might be discharging heavy metals. Its gray water footprint tells you exactly how much dilution is needed to stop the entire ecosystem from becoming toxic. See? Both of these have a gigantic and often completely invisible pollution footprint. Okay, so why is this so important? Why does this one metric matter so much? It's because it completely changes the conversation. It forces us to ask much smarter, much better questions about what responsible water management even means. Look, the old question was always, how much water did we use? that's a question about efficiency. But the gray water footprint lets us ask a new and I think much more powerful question: what pollution burden did we create? And that's a question about responsibility.
And when you start asking that question, the solutions look totally different. See, reducing your gray water footprint isn't really about installing a low-flow faucet. It's about getting to the root of the problem. It means preventing pollution before it even starts. It means seriously upgrading wastewater treatment. It means smarter chemical management, better control of runoff from your site. It's all about reducing the intensity of the pollution you create.
So, I want to leave you with this. The next time you hear the term water footprint, ask yourself, am I only seeing the volume or am I also seeing the pressure? Because unless you're looking at both, you're really not seeing the whole story at all.